Salama Abeda, Salama Abeda. So, first and foremost, happy King of Spades Day to myself. I found out like a few months ago that my cosmetic lesson within this earth in which I was born in is in King of Spades. And I was shocked at first. So I'm gonna just hop right on into it, y'all. Because this is just like a preview or introduction of just expressing the awakening that I experienced. And it's like different phases of it. And the phase that I'm in now is unknown. I really can't specify it really. I'm just enjoying the ride and making sure I proceed with cautious because this ride can possibly get bumpy. However, I come with preparation this time. That's what makes everything different. Um, I would say what I would do. Instead, I'm going to reflect on what I've have done, which would spend a lot of time, deep rooted time at that, of getting to know me in ways that I haven't even fathomed, just wouldn't even searching and looking that deep that far of getting to know me. Didn't even realize that I was that deep of a being and just someone that interesting to myself. So I'm gonna be just as shocked as you all are as everything unfolds. That's why I haven't really been making episodes like that. I just been tapped into reality just on a whole different level. And I don't regret any of it. Like taking that time away, taking that time off have really put me on to a level that I needed to be at this specific time. And this time frame is really showing up and showing out, and it's showing up in ways that is causing me to better myself. And it's been challenging. I wouldn't say it's hard. I wouldn't say it's easy. It's just that challenging. And I noticed that with this elevation of mine, I have to carry I have to carry that with care, with appreciation, because it didn't start off as love. This experience of mine have hurt it so bad in the beginning. As I continuously progress, those lessons, learning those lessons and adapting and putting those lessons into action to where I don't have to keep bumping my head to learn the same lesson has been some form of relief for me. So I can honestly say through it all thus far, I have found my equilibrium. And if I find myself getting off track of that, I know how to center myself back to that space. Staying tapped into myself and maintaining that has been the main goal. And with the King of Spades, energy that I carry within this life lesson of mine that I've been born in, I'm realizing that I didn't choose this position chose me. And when I say position, I'm speaking of what you are destined for will align what you are already built for. I'm going to say that again. What you are destined for is aligned to what you are already built for. You don't get what you want. Sometimes you don't even get what you need, but you will get which you're naturally gravitated to. And that's what I've learned through this overall trajectory of mine. And it's really deeper than that. I just can't fathom the words at this moment. One thing I will say, though, for sure, and another for certain, is that it never ceases to amaze me of how far and deep down the rabbit hole I go in regards of exposing more about just tapping into my frequency, because that's what it is overall. It's just tapping into my frequency. Like I said, once again, just maintaining that, because you can lose yourself in a world that forces you and tries to persuade you, tries to force you, and attempted in some cases in mine to be something that they want you to be rather opposed to what you yearning to be. And I take, I wouldn't even say fault in that. One thing I will say is I learned from that space, and most importantly, I know what not to tap into ever again. And a lot of things I walked into blindly. So within this new phase of mine, I'm just really executing. Like I said in previous moments, previous episodes, just overall in life. I'm I'm going with a flow that identifies with me rather than just taking in everything that's thrown at me. Everything that's thrown at me doesn't have to be a hit. Some things is meant to dodge. And hopefully I got that analogy that I'm trying to get at here, which basically what I'm saying is I'm learning to say no to a lot of things. I don't always have to be there for everybody. I don't always have to take what's being presented. Just because something is an opportunity doesn't mean it's for me. And once I realized that and accepted that, because you can realize something and not accept it, and that can cause a stumbling block within itself. So once I accepted that, how I move has started has is starting to change for the better. And I really see it within my walking life, within my communication, and just how I articulate. And it's about maintaining that. That's what it's all about now for me. Uh, the first thing that's going on in my mind after I said that is I don't want it to be all about me though, which it ain't, because clearly there's a higher being than all of us. So it's deeper than just being about me. It's about um, just the overall impact. I'm going to speak more about that. Matter of fact, I won't even speak about that. I'm gonna leave that to everyone's testimonies, because I'm not gonna speak for everybody. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on here because I haven't been on here in a while. I have done like a special episode prior, and I'm really improving. That I can say, because I was listening back to my old episodes and I was realizing that's that King of Spades energy. I'm like, wow, that's where I was at. Well, I'm not going to delete it though, because this memory right here showcase how far I have grown. So I'm gonna keep that for the books. I'm gonna keep that for the records. So there's gonna be. I'm definitely gonna retouch on a few things because my perspective has increased, especially at the being exposed to what I've been exposed to, like the things that I'm doing now. I had challenged myself to reread, um, quote unquote, the Holy Scriptures. So in 2020, I want to talk about this briefly. I had read the Bible, I read the Quran, and I read the Book of Enoch. I read it in my particular order that I prefer to read it in, and which I'm glad I did because I never read the Quran before. But as I read it in 2020, it made sense because I read the Holy Bible first, which is not the actual name. I digress. So I read the Bible first, and fast forward to 2023, I read it again, and the biggest difference is I'm reading it on my space, on my terms, opposed to anyone else's. Okay, hopefully my audio didn't break up. So, like I was saying, I'm reading from my space rather than reading the audiobook because the audiobook really didn't help me as I thought it did. Because when it came to breaking it down and what the books was about, I was all over the place. And I was like, what? Why? Lost my notes. So 2020 made a big difference compared to now. Rereading those books now, I'm like, how did I miss this? How did I miss that? And took notes that I should not lose this time. And I really don't need them for real, in regards of like talking about the theme of the books and the story, the whole matter of like the whole thesis, the I basically just said the theme of each book. Like I have grasped it thus far. Like I started June 25th when it came to the Quran. It took 20 days. I thought that book was longer than that, so I was surprised. And I read it. I took my time. I just went from a rush through it. I took notes. And it's basically just a summary of the Bible. Literally. Like they tell the exact same stories. The only difference is, if they didn't want to get hit with plagiarism, they had to switch the names and stuff up. What better way to do that than to come up with a whole new language? So obviously the Quran is in Arabic. There's an English translation to both the Bible and the Quran because the Bible, as y'all should know, was originally written in Hebrew. And that book is clearly a copy and paste of the Torah. So all three books are the exact same. The only difference is the the languages, and now when it came to the Quran, the stories of certain individuals were tweaked. For example, Jesus. So I'm gonna talk more about that. I just wanted to give y'all an update on what's going on in my personal life. And what better way to do that than to start now? That's what I've been on, and I feel like it has just helped me to comprehend the world better. Like, and when I say the world, I'm referring to the system because these books are literally the foundation of how things are ran and how people shape their foundation of life, their walk of life. Like, these books are eye opening to me, and it ties in to this king of space energy of mine because, in a sense, you do gain some form of authority which represents the king of spades of self rather than others. You gain some sense of knowledge that you haven't had before. And if you hear anyone preach those words, you'll be like, you can tell if it's being misused or not because you have read it for yourself. And that's basically the theme of my 2024. That's going to be, for me, April 1st. Now, I know I said, I don't know if I said it in a previous episode or not, but I'm going to say it here. I was battling the fence with that. I'm like, because I knew the New Year's for sure was not January 1st. I knew that because life does not restore itself. The earth does not, um, is it rehabilitate? It doesn't start or recycle itself in the winter. It just doesn't. The leaves are falling off, been felt off, especially in autumn, known as fall. So ain't no way that the new year is in winter. Ain't no way. I say that to say this world is off. This world system is off. And the best way to know that is to read these books that was thrown at us as kids. I wouldn't say it's us, not everybody. I'm not the only one where religion was presented to me as a young one. A lot of stuff is presented to us, and we should just learn it and search for it for ourselves and make choices for ourselves rather than accepting what has been given to us and just like, oh, well, you said it, it must be facts. Just look real deep into things and just really formulate your own pattern from there, your own progress from there, your own process from there, opposed to following after someone else. And that's the thing I'm going to walk into April 1st. Now, back to straddling the fence with that. I went from saying, okay, April 1st is the new year because that's when spring is really springing. That